As we sit here today, Israel is facing an onslaught of terrorism. Men, women, and children are being stabbed to death on the street on a daily basis. Yet for them, there has been no demand for an emergency session of the Security Council, no call for the Palestinian leadership to stop their incitement, and not even a whisper of condemnation of these acts could be heard from this council. I have no doubt that if on a daily basis your citizens were being stabbed in the streets with butcher knives or shot on buses, your security forces would have reacted in the same way. Prime Minister Netanyahu, as we heard today, has stated time and time again, including from the podium in the UN General Assembly nearby, Israel is firmly committed to the status quo. We continue to protect the right of Muslims to pray in the mosque, as well as the freedom of all people, Muslim, Christian, Jews, and others, to visit the Temple Mount. The facts speak for themselves. For decades, Israel has maintained the status quo and will keep on doing so. Let me be crystal clear. Israel will not agree to any international presence on the Temple Mount. Such a presence would be a change in the status quo. Since 1967, Israel has been doing everything in its power to preserve the sanctity of this site. We do this out of deep and abiding respect for the principle of freedom of religion and the historic connection of the three monotheistic faiths to the Temple Mount. Yet it is clear that this respect is not mutual. Palestinian leaders are determined to erase Jewish history and deny any historic connection between the Jewish people and our holiest site. In a proposal that the Palestinians have asked to submit yesterday to UNESCO, they tried to do exactly that. This proposal calls for UNESCO to include the Western Wall, HaKotel HaMa'aravi, the site of the Jewish prayer for millennia, as an integral part of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. When the Palestinian leadership has so little respect for places that have been sacred to the Jewish people throughout our history, it is no surprise that the Palestinian people treat the Jewish holy site with such disdain and disregard. Just last night, a mob of Palestinians set fire to the tomb of Joseph in Nablus, a site of prayer and pilgrimage for Jews throughout the generation. This is a desecration and a blatant violation of the freedom of worship. The heinous attack of a biblical holy site can be explained only by incitement and lack of respect for the religion and heritage of others. The disrespect for the sanctity of holy site is also evident in the action of Palestinians on the Temple Mount. Militant Islamic agitators have used the Al-Aqsa Mosque as a staging ground for a calculated, violent provocation. On the eve of the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah, radical Islamists stockpiled rocks, planks, wooden sheet, and fireworks, as well as Molotov firebombs and explosive devices to prevent Jews, as well as Christians, from visiting the Temple Mount. The Palestinian and the representative of the Arab countries speak of the sacredness of their holy site, but when Islamist militants desecrated Al-Aqsa by using it as a weapon depot, they stood mute. Instead, President Abbas defended these rioters and lit the spark which set our region ablaze. He declared, and I quote, "We welcome every drop of blood spilled in Jerusalem. With the help of Allah, every shaheed will be in heaven, and every wounded will get his reward. Al-Aqsa is ours, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is ours. Everything is ours, all ours. They have no right to desecrate them with their filthy feet." I repeat, Jews have no right to desecrate it with their filthy feet. Can you imagine the reaction if any Israeli leader, any leader for that matter, would have uttered such a hateful sentiment? The Security Council would have rightly wasted no time in convening to condemn it. Yet when the president of the Palestinian Authority makes such a blatantly prejudiced statement, the reaction of this council is complete silence. Mr. President, even now, as the violence continues and lives are lost every day, instead of calming tension, Palestinian leaders continue to lie and use inflammatory rhetoric. They are stoking the flames by portraying terrorists as innocent victims. Just 2 days ago, in a televised broadcast to the Palestinian people, President Abbas accused Israel of killing an innocent 13-year-old Palestinian boy. There are two facts that Abbas did not share with his public. First, the boy is not dead. He is fully conscious and is being treated in an Israeli hospital. Second, he is not innocent. This 13-year-old Palestinian brutally attacked a 13-year-old Israeli boy who was riding his bicycle, stabbing him no less than 15 times. You don't have to take my words for it. There is a video of this also on social media. When a young child is incited to pick up a knife, instead of being encouraged to pick up a basketball or a book, something is deeply, deeply wrong. As Dr. Yitzhak Kadman, Executive Director of the Israeli National Council for the Child, wrote yesterday, "It is very easy to use children from the needs of adults. It is so easy to incite children, so easy to drag children into war games, so tempting to turn children into symbols, so easy and yet so wrong, so simple and yet so dangerous." Tragically, this is exactly what the Palestinian leadership is doing. Such acts of terror do not occur in a vacuum. They are a product of a deliberate policy of incitement aiming at filling the minds of Palestinian children with hate. From an early age, Palestinian children are subjected to propaganda that promotes hatred and incites to violence. Young children watch TV shows with friendly hosts that encourage them to kill all the Jews and become martyrs. School children in the West Bank study using official Palestinian Authority textbook that legitimize indiscriminate violence against Israelis. Palestinian teenagers follow Facebook posts and Twitter feeds that call on them to stab Jews and that applaud violent acts like the murder of Eitam and Naama Henkin, of blessed memory. Mr. President, the situation is indeed dire, but there is a way forward. Just yesterday, Prime Minister Netanyahu expressed his willingness to meet with the Palestinian leadership with President Abbas in order to bring calm to the region. 2 weeks ago, Prime Minister Netanyahu stood here in the UN and declared that he is ready for direct negotiation with the Palestinians without any precondition. If this council is serious about promoting peace, it must join in Prime Minister Netanyahu's call and insist that President Abbas comes to the negotiation table. Israel's historic agreement with Egypt, as well as with Jordan, proves that only direct negotiation can lead to a real and lasting peace. Only such negotiation can create a new reality for all the people of our region. Thank you, Mr. President.